Oh, welcome to Libertarians Drinking Coffee Live. So happy to have you guys with me on this glorious afternoon, right at 3 p.m. on the East Coast. You might go, Larry, 3 p.m. on the East Coast, that's not normal for you. It's not. Usually I'm on at night. That's true. Or sometimes my radio show I'm on in the afternoons. That's true sometimes. However, I have a special guest today, somebody who I've known for a while, and someone who I feel like is making a step that some people might think is a little bit crazy. I could see that, people thinking that, but I've done it too, and that is run for governor. Why in the world would somebody want to run for governor? Well, I'm going to ask this man. He is running for governor of New Jersey, the man himself, Vic Kaplan. How are you, sir?
Great. Thank you, Larry, and thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. And if you want to see what he is doing, you can support him over at vic4liberty.com. If you're listening to this, that is VIC, the number 4 liberty.com. So I have to ask you, Vic, this is a big deal. I've done it myself. You know, this is a big deal. There are many ways you could support liberty. Why a run for governor? Why that?
Well, Larry, I really do believe in offering the voters of New Jersey a choice this election. I was looking at the other candidates that were running this year, and I want the voters to be able to hear a libertarian message. And I believe that I can offer that message more than any of the Republican or Democratic candidates that were running for election this year. And I feel that it's important that people know what liberty is, what I stand for, and I want the voters to hear that consistent message of liberty throughout the whole state. I think it's important that people can put the message of liberty along with the name of the Libertarian Party. So this is what I'm doing. This is why I'm doing it. I want more people to join the liberty movement through hearing my message so they can get excited and join the campaign and join the campaign. Yes, thank you.
Well, my worry, of course, and I'm sure you're going to tell me about this now, is in a race like this, particularly in New Jersey, you actually, in a way, have it worse and some ways better than I have in New York, right? And the advantage I have in New York, which is also a bad thing, is that the Democrats going to win, right? But you're in a state where you don't know who's going to. It's not that clear cut who's going to win in New Jersey. Doesn't that make your race tougher, or no? Tell me.
Well, Larry, the last poll that I've seen had Mikey Sherrill up by 13 points. Ahead of Chittarelli, and I don't think
I didn't realize that. Okay.
The Survey USA poll came out a few days ago. I don't think that's actually too shocking. I think, and we see that in New Jersey, that every time there is a Republican incumbent president in the White House, the Democrats tend to do more. It's basically whoever comes out against the party in the White House. That seems to have been the trend in New Jersey in recent elections. So I'm not really surprised that Chittarelli is struggling, even though the last election in 21 he did come in close to winning.
Yeah, and isn't he's backed by Trump, right? Trump does back him.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
But I don't think this is actually helping him because the last election, of course, now it was closer than it was before, but certainly Kamala Harris did win in New Jersey by 7 points. So. I think
in
that
your race now, hold on. In your race now, so you've got the Democrat, Republican. Is there anyone else on the ballot besides you in Jersey?
Right. Yes. So there's one Green Party candidate and one Socialist Workers Party candidate. So they're also.
Is there a difference between those two?
Well, there is actually. The Socialist Workers Party candidate, the Kunyansky, it's actually the Socialist Workers Party is a Trotskyite party as opposed to Green Party. That's more of kind of a social democrat type of mode in the mode of Bernie Sanders. So there's definitely a difference. It's basically communism versus democratic socialism, if you will.
Communism versus communism light. Is what you're saying?
Well, yeah. Well, it's not. Well, it's interesting you mentioned that because I think that actual communists would view the Greens as like reform. Capitalism type of Democrats, they would not view them as fellow travelers. Of course, communists do believe in actual government owning controlling the means of production, and that's not exactly what the Greens are calling for.
So let me ask that question then. What we found happen in 2024 was when it came to the Maha movement, RFK Jr., we found him kind of jump over to the Trump team and try to create some kind of unity thing in the Republican Party. And then what didn't happen was the other parties, Libertarian, Green, Cornel West running independently, they did not coalesce at all. They just basically went their own separate ways. Is something similar happening in New Jersey or something different?
Well, in New Jersey, I mean, I really don't see the kind of a Greens coalescing.
No. Okay.
Behind the Democratic candidate. The Mike Sherrill would be considered, I guess, a kind of a moderate Democrat. So there's no, I don't think there's a whole lot of, well, it's much more difficult to make that connection between her platform and Zelensky, who is the Green Party candidate, Steven Zelensky's platform. So the Steven Zelensky is
okay.
Definitely more on what I mentioned, democratic socialism type of the platform. So I really don't see that happening. There's not, and of course, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Let me go to your what you're trying to do. Your slogan, I would say, your slogan. Your slogan is freedom and empathy. Empathy is not something that libertarians generally are known for. That's not a popular thing. I mean, I love it. I'm all about it. But that's me. I think a lot of people, they'll go, libertarian, empathy, what? Why that?
Well, I think it's important to have empathy for the people, and anything the government does, there should be empathy. And what I mean, there should be empathy, I think some of the government officials should try to get themselves into the shoes of the people that are suffering, right? I mean, there are people, they're leaving New Jersey because they find living in New Jersey unaffordable, okay? I also understand that there are people in New Jersey, well, not just New Jersey, but other states that really cannot take care of themselves. And I think that while I do support, reducing the size and scope of government, I think it's also important that people who cannot take care of themselves are being taken care of. So empathy is not just empathy for people, for economic reasons, because they just can't afford living in New Jersey, but also people who cannot take care of themselves. I want to make sure that those people, they can get the aid that they're currently getting. I mean, there are people who are in disability. I don't want the government to shut off the lights and just leave them with no money. And I think that message is very important, because of course, anyone who comes up with uses the libertarian message, they could get the pushback by people saying, well, what about people who can't take care of themselves? What about the poor? How do we help the poor? And what I actually do see happening, unfortunately, in New Jersey and in other states as well, as government officials trying to hurt the poor. I mean, you may have heard about the case in Toms River, where the mayor, a Republican mayor, I may add, has decided to punish a Episcopalian church that wanted to build a shelter for homeless people.
Yes,
by turning that property into a pickleball court, where you have that church. Now, the Episcopalian church, some people think it's because the mayor doesn't like homeless people and just wants to get rid of them. But the reason
a pickleball court does look nicer than a homeless shelter. He's not wrong. It does look nicer.
Right. Yeah. And what I find absolutely horrible here is you have church members, right? Christians who are trying to help other people, trying to help homeless people.
Yes.
Right. By providing them shelter, are being punished for their actions. Here you have, church members trying to come up with a solution that doesn't cost any money to taxpayers.
And that's the problem I want to bring up here. You're hitting something, and I want the audience to hear this. The reason why is not because they're evil or mean, but because the more the individual local area, to your point, actually tries to solve a problem, the more the problem will be solved, and government will not be involved. So it will not have the power. So it cannot raise money. So it can't raise taxes. Whenever you add government, you remove community. This is kind of what you're saying. Am I right?
Yes, correct. Yes. So there are people say that, well, they don't want the in Toms River, the mayor, to have kind of a private sector, dealing with the issue of homeless people. But, it's also true that there are people who think that the mayor just doesn't like homeless people. He thinks that they're a nuisance. But you have here, right, church members coming up with a solution. They're acting out of the goodness of their heart. They're trying to solve the problem,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And instead of kind of praising them, you have the government wanting to punish them. I mean, that's absolutely horrible. Now, there are other people think that another reason is that this Episcopal Church is, pro-LGBT, and that might be another reason.
Oh, okay.
The
Okay.
mayor,
Yeah, well,
the mayor is going after them, but who knows what the real reason is? But I mean, people, pretty much the consensus that the mayor doesn't like homeless people and wants to get rid of them. And of course, if they're in a they're in a shelter next to the church, well, that means they're there. They're in Tom's River. They're not out of the city.
Right.
That's a problem for the mayor.
Gotcha. All right, I got a couple questions, and one someone's teasing you. Shelly says, Kamala Harris won in New Jersey, and just when we stopped all the Jersey jokes. So there we go.
Well, she did win in Jersey. That's not surprising. She won by a smaller margin, and one of the reasons, and there have been studies done on that. Certainly, last year the issue of Gaza did keep some of the Democratic voters away. So it wasn't, yes, Donald Trump won the election. I'm not doubting that. But it's also true that quite a lot of people didn't show up. And Gaza being number one issue and the number two issue being the economic problems that were part of the dialogue last year. Yeah.
So Mike Voss is in the house. He says, Bakara is using illegal aliens to gin up attention while obscuring his support of open borders that crushes infrastructure and endangers the public. Where do you stand on these issues?
Thank you for that question. My stance on immigration, and I make no bones about it, it's straight on my website, is that I think people who came here who are undocumented, there's got to be a way out for those people. Right? There's a Cato Institute study that came out about 2 weeks ago that was very clear. Out of all undocumented immigrants, right? So you had 7% commit violent crimes. Okay, not 95%. If you listen to Donald Trump, right? They're all murderers, they're all rapists, right? They're all 7%, right? And 65% have not been convicted of any crimes at all. So if only 7% on violent criminals, there's a way to deal with that. And we have police, we have law enforcement that already exists to deal with that. There's no need to take the people that have been here for 5, 10, 15, 20 years and kick them out of the country. So I support using the U.S. Constitution, Article 1, Section 8, which only mentions naturalization, okay, which is citizenship. It does not mention immigration. So I would use that part of the Constitution to declare the presence of ICE null and void in the state of New Jersey. I feel very strongly about this.
So if ICE goes away in New Jersey, you were talking about finding answers. I'm sure you don't want just people to be out there struggling, obviously. So as governor, what would you do to, I guess, deal with the issue now? You'd have X number of immigrants. I know New York State took over 200,000. I don't know how much New Jersey took in, but whatever that number is, right? You took in a bunch of those people, whatever it is. What would be your answer once ICE goes away? Would this be a local law enforcement issue? Would this be some special system you'd set up? What would be the issue?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think whatever ICE is doing, we can have local law enforcement go against violent criminals. There's no need for ICE to deal with that. In fact, ICE is going after people who have not committed any other crimes except for being undocumented. I would have local law enforcement deal with that. I also would make it very clear that I would have the employers be open to inviting people from all over the world. If they want to invite people from other countries, they should be allowed to do so. So I do not support any kind of restrictions when it comes to that. But then they should be the ones responsible for funding the travel and funding the training of the immigrants. Okay, and you can have private organizations sponsoring people like we used to have. I mean, I know New York City. I know Niana is one of the organizations that comes to mind that would sponsor immigrants that came to the Jewish immigrants that came from the former Soviet Union and other places. I know Niana is no longer is obsolete right now in New York State, but there are other organizations that could be doing that. I mean, we've had that 70, 80 years ago. Private organizations, they would be the ones providing funding, money, housing, so it wouldn't cost any money for taxpayers, because this has been one of the complaints of people. Why should my money to pay for this and that? I totally agree. It shouldn't. There's no need for tax money be used for undocumented immigrants. So I support putting this squarely under the control of the employers. Have employer based immigration. People want to work, invite them in. do whatever needs to be done.
Okay.
And so that's how.
I have another.
Yeah.
John asks, will you do a New York model and start selling beer in gas stations?
Well, that's an interesting question. I never actually thought about it. Selling beer in gas stations. I have no issue with if people want to sell beer, they should be allowed to do that. Now I know we do have the laws currently regarding selling beer to minors, but obviously, but but I have no issue with people doing that. So no, I would not be against that. Anything that's legal.
So,
and by the way, in New Jersey, if people want to pump their own gas, that should be illegal too.
That's weird to me. Whenever I go to Jersey, I can't pump my own gas. I'm like, what? I got to, oh yeah. I have noticed that. Yeah, I guess I'm too dumb, Vic. That's the issue. I'm too dumb. So I can't pump my own gas. I might kill somebody, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, I've seen that. All right. So let me be a bit more specific here. That was a couple people asking questions. I want to give you a shot to literally tell me, what are your, say, top 1, 2, or 3 issues that you think, and 2 parts to this. Part 1 is, what do you think your 2 top issues are? And are they top for you, or are they top for you and New Jersey? Do they overlap or no?
Sure, Larry. So one of the issues I would say is getting rid of the state income tax. That is one of the issues that I'm running on. Now, 8 states do not have a state income tax, and we did not have a state income tax until 1976. And it was controversial back then to have it. It was supposed to pay for education. Instead, we ended up with both the state income tax and the highest property taxes in the country.
Yep.
And that is just not right. So my goal would be to see the abolishing of the state income tax within 3 years. I think it's doable. I think it's doable. I would very much support getting that done, or within 4 years.
So getting rid of it, does that mean I guess one of 3 things, right? Number 1 would be you're okay accepting more debt, option 1. Option 2, you're going to lower spending to make up for that. Or option 3, you're going to raise revenue to match that somehow. What combination do you have for that?
Right. I support reducing expenditures, cutting spending.
Got it.
I support cutting spending. We can replace the state income tax with user fees. So even state services, they should be able to have user fees. And if people believe this or that program is important, we can do that. So that way only the people using the service will be paying for it. And I think that's only fair. Now, 8 states don't have a state income tax. I don't see why we cannot exist without a state income tax as well. Now, of course,
so
I do realize
that was your number 1 issue. I got to ask, across New Jersey, are New Jersey people on board with that in general, or are they like other issues more important?
Sure. A lot of people, they find that some people don't agree with that, but a lot of people want to see their the property taxes reduced. So then, of course, I say that, well, if we do that, of course, then we can reduce the property taxes. The 8 states that I mentioned, all of them have lower property taxes than in New Jersey. They don't have a state income tax. We have the highest property taxes in the country. So if we get rid of the state income tax, yes, I would expect property taxes to go down. Even New Hampshire, that doesn't have a state income tax and a state sales tax, still has lower property taxes than here in New Jersey. So I strongly believe that if we get rid of the state income tax, property taxes will go down.
So if you guys like what he's saying and you want to chat with him or see what's going on, please feel free to support Vic. Head over to his website, www.vic4liberty. If you're listening, that's VIC, the number 4 liberty.com. He is taking donations. You want to throw him some cash, help him out. Please help him out to get this moving forward, if you would. He needs Facebook ads. He needs palm cards. He needs all the cool things to move this forward and to get people in New Jersey to see that lowering and or erasing their state income tax is going to be a great thing for them. So if you can help them out, please do so. In fact, if you don't have cash, no worries. Other things you can do. You can do something simple. You can just click the like button and share this. That will help. Just sharing this, clicking the like button so that people can see it. That will also help. But not just that. If you live in Jersey, you can volunteer. You can help them do door knocking. You can help them do sign waves, whatever the case may be. You can help them out, jump on a campaign. As I said, if you can, it is vic4liberty.com. All right. So your number 1, Vic, was income tax. What's your number 2?
Yeah, it's no in no particular order. I started with the state income tax. I would like to have the people of New Jersey have affordable housing. I think that's very
Ah,
important, and I think that issue is probably definitely more salient to the voters of New Jersey that not having a state income tax. They definitely want to see the property taxes go down, but
mm.
the affordability of housing is definitely a huge issue in New Jersey. So I'd like the people of New Jersey be able to live in a smaller houses, tiny homes. I know there are companies like Boxables that do offer tiny homes that they can go for as low as $30,000. Talking about the Boxables company, but there are other alternatives. But unfortunately, the state of New Jersey, if one wants to actually buy one and live in one, that's not allowed. And
Oh,
I
yeah.
want to I want to make sure that I want to work with the local governments if that means changing some of the zoning laws to allow people to live in affordable homes, because as housing prices are going up, housing becomes just less and less affordable for the people, and so they're just not fair for people who want to try to live in something that's smaller. um,
And
I
also they start gaining equity, they start gaining ownership. I think all those things help, right? Isn't it better to have ownership in something small than no ownership in anything?
Oh, absolutely. I totally agree. I absolutely totally agree. And on top of that, I'd like to get rid of the impact fees, right? That prohibit the building of smaller houses. That should be allowed too. So, that's a tax on the new homes. So making housing more affordable, I think it's very important. And that's something else that I'm running on. I mean, I've met homeless people here in New Jersey, and I think if one of the reasons for the fact that we have homeless people is just people just don't find housing affordable. Not all of the homeless people are the stereotypical people with addiction problems. I mean, some of them
Sure.
just can't afford can't afford housing in New Jersey. I mean, we've had a lot of those start during the Great Recession. I mean,
Yep.
we had entire camps in New Jersey and in other states as well. So I think it's very important to make housing more affordable in New Jersey, and so I am running on that platform.
I love that. So the next question I have to ask is, look, this is a very tough gig you've taken on, right? Running for governor across New York, New Jersey is going to be a tough gig. How do you make impact, right? How do you get your name out? How do you get people to see you? How are you going to be able to make impact? People go, oh, that's the guy. How can you do that?
Right. So I am planning to run ads here in New Jersey, trying to contact as many people as possible. Also in person, I am planning. I have a whole list of state fairs, rather municipal fairs that I plan to attend to.
Ooh,
Kind of
okay.
talk individually to voters, because I think that's also effective. I mean, I can't obviously meet all of the voters in New Jersey, so there are other ways of reaching out to them. But I do definitely plan to meet with them in person this 4th of July. I plan to attend the parade. So
Nice.
I do plan to spread the message out, and there have been people contacting me as well who just are not fans of the two candidates that are running for office.
Right.
I mean, one person actually was not particularly happy with some of the things that the federal government is doing, and so I'm getting support from many different people. I mean, the last year that I ran for Congress, I mean, I've had people who were Democrats and Republicans supporting me. So I tend to draw kind of people, I mean, from my experience and from different sides. And I do plan to talk about the issues that people care about. And I've
I
noticed
like that.
that whether people are Republicans or Democrats, if they like the message, I mean, they'll back you. So.
Well, Nathan just hooked you up. He said Wikipedia only listed Mickey Sherrill and Jack Citarelli as candidates in the New Jersey gubernatorial race. I just updated it to include Vic and two other candidates who weren't listed. So someone's helping you out here, Vic. It's working. See that? It's already working. Guys, if you want to help Vic get that message out, you want to help get him to those places, head over to vic4liberty.com. If you're listening only, VIC, the number 4liberty.com. Throw him a couple bucks so that he can get out. That's gas money. That's palm cards, right? That's what that is. That's a Facebook ad so people know he's going to be there. That's the fee it's going to cost him to get a booth, right? That's booth fees. That's all those things. If you can help out, please do so. It does matter. If you say, Larry, I love Vic, but I don't have the cash, no worries. Click the like button and share this, and it still helps him out, right? You can follow him. If you head over to his website, you'll see where his Facebook page is. You'll see where his Twitter account is. Follow those two. Help him out if you can. If you want to see this going forward, it will be great. So let me ask you something else here. We're libertarians, third parties. The odds of us winning, not high. I get it. But is there another way that you would see a victory other than winning the seat itself? Is there some other thing where you would go, you know what? No. This is still a win. Do you have that already in your head or no?
Sure, absolutely, Larry. I think that if any of my policies were enacted into law, I mean, not by my policies, but the policies I advocate were enacted into law, I think that would be a win. I mean, I would love the residents of New Jersey be able to have more affordable housing. If that were to happen, or if we had the state income tax abolished, I mean, that would be great. that would be awesome. By the way, people who think that this is such a crazy idea, I know this was in 2002, but in the state of Massachusetts, I recall 45% of the people did vote to abolish the state income tax in Massachusetts. Now that didn't pass, but if 45% could do that in Massachusetts, maybe there's a chance of that happening in New Jersey. But I can go back to Murray Sabrin, who ran for governor in '97, and
I remember Murray.
Two things he pushed for was actually getting rid of the speed limit of 55 miles per hour. And another thing that he was pushing for in that election in '97 was allowing for a choice when it comes to auto insurance, right? And both of these proposals did become law after he lost in '97. The legislature adopted those proposals into law. So even though he lost the election, I would say that he in fact won, because at least some of the proposals that he was pushing for did become law.
I love that. And if they're listening to you, then they can adopt yours. It's funny. I remember I was on a podcast before and someone said, Larry, these ideas, right? I mean, don't you want to lock them down? I was like, no, take them. I don't want to run. Fix my state. I'll stay home, right? I just want my state fixed. It doesn't have to be me doing it. As long as you fix my state, I don't care. I don't have to be the guy who does it. As long as it gets done, I'm with you completely. So with that in mind, let me give you the last question, which is kind of personal because I live in New York City. We've seen recently Mr. Mamdani winning our primary here, Democratic primary, someone who obviously is much further left than either you or I, obviously. With that in mind, what do you think is the future for your state, New Jersey? Is it moving more towards liberty, listening to guys like you? Is it more staying status quo with the Democratic Republican establishment? Is it more moving towards whatever the New Jersey Mamdani guy is? Is it more towards that? What do you think?
Well, I would like to see that the future of the state be changed and not go in the direction it has been going to. So I'm not going to predict the future. I'm definitely not. I'm
literally trying to put you on a spot so you can predict the future.
The trend has definitely been with the people who were unhappy with the life of New Jersey, leaving New Jersey. I mean, yes. That has been the trend. I mean, I've met a lot of people in different states who have left New Jersey, but I like to see that reversed. I mean, I'd like to see that reversed. And I mean, that's why I'm running this campaign. I want to offer voters another choice, for voters to hear that there's a different way of doing things, that we don't need to go in the same direction of having more government intervention and having more problems, and the government trying to fix the problems that were caused by government by having more government spending, right? That sounds like doing more of the same and doing the same thing, all over again and expecting different results. So I just want to, give voters that opportunity to hear, look, the problems we have in New Jersey, that they have been caused by too much government intervention. This is what has caused some of these problems. And now we have to go in the opposite direction. That it doesn't make sense to go in the direction of Mamdani, right? And have a complete government takeover of this area and that area. The solution is to get the government out of all these areas, right? There's a reason why the college education is not affordable for the people, not just of New Jersey, of the United States. Once the government stepped into education, they incentivized the colleges to increase their costs, to make colleges more expensive by offering financial aid. We see the same thing with healthcare. So how can the solution be getting more government control when the problems that people are complaining about have been caused by too much government? We got to get the government out of the way and allow individuals make decisions for their own lives instead of having, just a couple of people deciding what is best for, hundreds of thousands and millions of people. How can those people know what's best for millions of people? I mean, two of us, I bet, don't agree on everything. How can one person know what's best for, forget about you, 20, 100 people, and thinking that that person knows what's best for you. Only you know what's best for you. And that's the type of message that I want to offer to voters. Elect me as governor so you can make decisions for your own life, and you can make those decisions better than the politicians can for you.
But so you added something else, though. You added the freedom part, but on your slogan, you also had the empathy part. So I like that too. You've added both of those. It's not just freedom, it's also empathy. And you've also brought the point that, how can one person or a group of people, kind of rule us in a way? And I feel like even the left is seeing that. That's their no oligarchy tour, right? Even Bernie and AOC are talking about that. AOC, by the way, is my congressperson. I accept your condolences. So yes. So I think you're onto something, Vic. I feel like this is the right message, right? This freedom and empathy piece, this no oligarchy piece. I feel like you're on the right track here. I appreciate it. Vic, did I miss something? Is there something else we should be talking about?
No, this is all great. Just as you said, feel free. Please visit my website. You mentioned it earlier, but yeah, join me. I welcome any type of input. Definitely. Please feel free to donate. And I promise you, I'll be using that money to reach as many voters as possible in the state of New Jersey. I've done the data analytics, and I know exactly where to find those voters. So please do so. And if you have. And I thank you, Larry, for the opportunity of interviewing me. I really appreciate it. And it's been a real pleasure, Larry. Thank you.
Excellent. Guys, I want to say thank you all so much for giving me a small chunk of your afternoon to listen to Vic. Again, it's Vic, VIC, 4 Liberty.com. I will be on later on tonight, as you know, and also traveling this weekend. I hope to see all of you there very soon. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. I will see you all very soon.